Hello, this is Pavel, and this is today's operating brief, where I take AI and technology signals and look at what they change for service companies. The pattern I want to talk about today is not that AI suddenly invented management. It is almost the opposite. AI is making old operating laws impossible to ignore. For decades, manufacturing, system thinking, software engineering, and operations management had very clear idea about work. Make the work visible, measure the real thing, define done, stop defects early, manage the constraint, assign ownership, and learn from what happens. Most service company could ignore some of this because people held the system together. Someone remembered the exception. Someone checked the spreadsheet. Someone knew which customer always needed special handling. Someone stayed late and fixed the mess. AI changes that. Not because the machine becomes the manager, because once you add agents, workflow automation, co-pilots, dashboards, and contacts engineers, the hidden operating system of the company becomes visible. If the work is clear, AI can help. If the work is vague, AI make the vagueness more faster. So the question is not which AI tool should we use? The better question is which old operating law is the technology forcing us to finally take seriously? Let's get started. Donella Meadows tells a simple story from the Netherlands. Identical houses, simple electricity, same prices. The only meaningful difference was where the electricity meter sat. In some houses, the meter was hidden in a basement. In others, it was in front hall where the people could see it every day. The front hall houses used about one third less electricity. Nothing else changed. No new incentive plan, no new technology, no speech from management. The information moved from the basement to the front hall and behavior changed. That's one of the most important ideas for the service companies using AI. A lot of companies think they need a smarter dashboard. Maybe they do. But the first question is not whether the dashboard is smart. The first question is whether the meter is in front hall of work. If the only people who see the number are executives at the end of the month, that's the basement meter. If the people doing the work can see the outcome while the work is still happening, that is front hall meter. And AI makes this much more practical. When job moves through intake, scheduling, delivery, billing, and follow up, the system can capture timestamps, exceptions, rework, customer replies, missing information, and handoffs as a part of the work, not later, not from the memory, not in the report someone assembles on Friday, as the work happens. That is the difference between reporting and observability. Reporting says, here's what we think happened. Observability says, here's what is happening. For service company, the AI question becomes very practical. What is 1 meter you need to move from the basement to the front hall? It might be clean invoices. It might be first time resolution. It might be jobs waiting for owner to approval. It might be the customer promises at risk. But if the number is buried, late, or only visible to management, AI will not automatically fix the workflow. It will just give you more impressive basement. The durable law is simple. Visibility changes behavior before automation changes behavior. So before asking what the AI should do, ask what team should be able to see. And once the meter is visible, the next question is whether I'm measuring the right things in the first place. Another Meadows idea is the trap of seeking the wrong goal. The system gives you what you measure. That sounds obvious, but it is one of the most dangerous sentences in business. If a school measures test score, it might be not produce learning. If the company measures revenue, it might be not producing customer value. If service team measures tickets closed, it might not produce problem solved. This becomes more dangerous with AI because AI is very good at optimizing whatever target you give it. An engineering post about AI infrastructure made the same point from the technical angle. Old infrastructure dashboards often treated busy CPU or memory as a sign of useful work. With AI inference, the shortcut break. The hardware can look busy, but the real question is closer to completed inference. Tokens processed, useful answers returned, or jobs completed. The unit of work changed. Service companies have the same problem just in business language. Calls handled is not the same as customer helped. Emails answered is not the same as issued resolved. Invoices set is not the same as cash collected. Appointment scheduled is not the same as job completed on time. Once AI enters the workflow, the bad metric becomes even more expensive. If you point AI at tickets closed, it can help close more tickets. If the real business problem is repeat contacts, customer confusion, missing promises, or unresolved root causes, the dashboard gets greener while the company gets worse. This is where many AI projects quietly fail. They do not fail because the model is bad. They failed because the company automated a proxy. For a service company, the practical move is to name the real unit of work, not the activity, the unit of work. A clean invoice, a resolved incident, a kept appointment, a claim with no rework, a customer who did not have to call twice. Then design the AI around that unit. The durable law is AI will not rescue a wrong call, it will pursue it faster. So if you only change one thing in a workflow, change the sentence that defines winning. And after you define winning, the next problem is defining when the work is actually done. Product Compass had a useful way to talk about agent loops. A routine follows fixed steps. A workflow branches. A loop keeps working, checking, and trying again until the condition is met. That sounds technical, but it is really a management idea. The important part of the loop is not the prompt. The important part is the condition that says, this is done. This is where the service company can learn from software. In software, a task is not done because AI said it is done. It is done when tests pass, checks pass, the code build, the review is accepted, and then work meets the definition. The agent does not get to declare victory by sounding confident. Now translate that into service work. An intake process is not done when the form is filled. It is done when it requires fact. It is done when the required facts are complete enough for the next person to act without calling the customer again. A quote is not done when PDF is generated. It is done when the scope, price, assumptions, exclusions, and approval path are clear enough that the company can stand behind it. A billing workflow is not done when the invoice goes out. It is done when the invoice is clean, matched, sent to the right place, and unlikely to bounce back. This matters because AI makes loops cheap. It can summarize, draft, recheck, classify, compare, and try again many times. But a cheap loop without a wake stop condition is not intelligence. It is automated wondering. For the service company, every recurring AI task should have 5 things. What is the goal? What does done mean? What is the maximum number of tries or the budget? Who or what checks the result? What happens if it cannot reach done? That is management language, but it's also technical language. The AI system has to know when to keep working, when to stop, and when to ask for help. The durable law is the prompt is not the job. The stop condition is the job. And when the work cannot safely continue, the company needs something stronger than a suggestion in a prompt. There's an old risk idea called the Swiss cheese model. The picture is simple. Every safety check is like a slice of Swiss cheese. Each slice has holes. One check can fail. But if you stack several independent checks, the bad outcome only gets through when the holes line up across all of them. The math is the interesting part. One check that is 95% reliable still leaves a 5% defect rate. Two independent 95% checks bring that down to about 0.25%. Three independent checks bring it down to about 0.01%. The improvement is not linear, it's compounds. That matters for AI because a lot of companies still think about review as one final human check. The AI drafts the message, the human glances at it, and then it goes out. That is one slice of cheese. Sometimes that is enough, but not when the workflow touches money, customer promises, personal data, claims, compliance, or safety. For higher consecutive service work, you want different checks. Look at the different failure models. One check verifies the source data. One check verifies permissions. One check verifies the business rule. One check verifies the customer-facing output. Another one verifies that the exception was escalated. The important word is independent. Two people glancing in the same polished summary is not two independent checks. Two models judging the same bad source data is not two independent checks. You need checks from different angle. This is where the service company becomes more technical. The question is not, do we trust AI? The better question is, what are the independent layers between AI output and a bad customer or business outcome? For one workflow, map the slices. Can it fail? Where it is checked? Is the check independent? And what happens if the check fails? The durable law is AI risk drops when the holes do not line up. And those layers only stay real if leaders have a rhythm for checking the process, not only the result. Lean has another idea I like: leader standard work. It means leaders have a standard rhythm of actions focused on their process. Not only meetings, not only email, not only reports, not only firefighting. The leader job includes checking how the work is actually run, asking where the standards is breaking, developing people, and making abnormal conditions visible. This is a good translation for AI. Because the danger for AI workflow is that leaders treat them as something the tool owns. The vendors own it, the AI team owns it, the person who built it owns it. But if the workflow affects service delivery, leadership still owns the results. So the practical question is, what the leader's standard work around this AI process? For a scheduling workflow, maybe the leader checks small sample of AI-touched appointments every week. Were technician constraints respected? Were exceptions routed properly? Did the customer promise much that operations could actually deliver? For a billing workflow, maybe the leader checks a few invoices that AI helped prepare. Were a missing field caught? Were changes explained? Did the invoice create less rework or just faster rework? For customer support workflow, maybe the leader reviews a few conversations. Did the answer use the current policy? Did the AI escalate when confidence was low? Did the customer need to come back? And this is not about mismanagement. It is about keeping leadership connected to the process. The old lean questions are still useful. What is the standard? What interrupts the flow? What did we learn? How do we make the abnormal conditions more visible? AI does not remove those questions. It makes them more important because the workflow can drift quietly behind a clean interface. The durable law is if AI is part of the work, checking the AI process becomes part of leaders' standard work. And when leaders run those checks, they usually discover the next problem. AI might be treating the symptom while the real system problem remains untouched. So that is the pattern. AI does not run the company. It makes the company operating system visible. And if the meter is hitting, AI will not magically create visibility. If the goal is wrong, AI will not optimize the wrong thing. If done is weak, AI will keep wandering. If checks are not independent, the holes lined up. If leaders do not check the process, the workflow will drift. If AI only relieves symptoms, the company becomes dependent on the crunch. But because company now has to be managed like a technology system, visible work, clear rules, known constraints, own architecture, captured evidence, and the fast feedback, the tool is never the point. What it changes is. Thank you, and I talk to you soon.